Hello, Internet denizens! Welcome to another edition of RBF. Well, unfortunately, I can't use the full name because last time I did, YouTube demonetized the video. So, from now on, these are just going to be called RBFs. So in this edition of RBFs, all the best news that I could possibly rip off from other people's work, and I'm going to read them to you. Well, the first thing, I'm going to talk about Apple, and specifically Quinn Nelson of Snazzy Labs has had a series of videos where he had problems with his iMac Pro. Well, not specifically with the iMac Pro, but this little device that he used to attach it to a wall. Well, apparently the screws were made of some kind of zinc plastic melty wax thing, and would break. And Apple wouldn't repair it, and he made a video, and now it created a big stink, and now they're going to repair it, and now they're apologizing, and they're giving him a new computer and everything else. So the thing is, the trick is to become famous, have a big following on YouTube, and then you're going to get great service from Apple. It seems. This followed Linus Sebastian, famous from his Linus Tech Tips video, his terrible experience with the iMac Pro and getting it fixed. Although, in this particular case, I don't think it's completely Apple's fault. But again, another huge YouTuber that made a big stink of what he calls bad service. This followed Louis Rossmann's constant and bad experience with Apple. Louis's videos are hilarious. And this followed a major class action lawsuit, or will be happening, brewing. Something is bubbling up regarding the really crappy keyboards on the new iBook Pro. This followed the revelation there is an Apple Ben-gate iPhone 6 issue, that they used crappy aluminum in their iPhone 6, which Louis Rossmann revealed a long time ago, and nobody believed him. So that has bubbled to the surface. Now, before I move on, I don't want to be too harsh on Apple. I mean, it's really easy to poop on them. So I'd like to give Apple the benefit of the doubt as to where the cynical decisions came in. Was it at the very beginning of the design, and they were too far down the road, and they couldn't change it, and then someone put together some kind of spreadsheet that said, well, we're going to have X number of problems, and X number of people are going to be pissed off, and then we're going to go into a class action lawsuit, or if we go in, this is going to be how much it's going to cost us, but by that time we'll have made X amount of billions of dollars on the phone, so who cares? I would like to think that Apple did not have that spreadsheet, but I'm sure they did. And let's not discount the Wi-Fi problems that my friend at Painfully Honest Tech has been having. I mean, Apple, what is going on with you? So what's a big brand behemoth do when these kinds of things happen? Luckily for them, the mainstream media has not, talked about this at length. While Apple's brand seems to be unassailable, we all know, those of us who are also in the branding business, that it's a knife edge. If Apple gets to the point where they lose the confidence of their audience, it is much easier to build a brand than to fix one. Anyways, so watch it, Apple. Next item, Steamlink. App on the iOS platform. Well, Apple recently made the decision to not distribute Steamlink on their iOS platforms. Now, those of you who know Steam, it's actually a game distribution service on the computer, much the same way that Apple uses iOS, and they distribute games on iOS. And every single game developer, Apple takes a percentage of every single game that they sell in their App Store. And Steam is exactly the same way. That's what they do. Phil, I'm on my knees Schiller, said, on behalf of Apple, we care deeply about bringing great games to all our users on the App Store. We would love for Valve's games and services to be on iOS and Apple TV. Unfortunately, the review team found that Valve's Steam iOS app, as currently submitted, violates a number of guidelines around user-generated content, in-app purchases, content codes, etc. We've discussed these issues with Valve and will continue to work with them to bring the Steam experience to iOS and Apple TV in a way that complies with Store's guidelines. We put great effort into creating an App Store that provides the very best experience for everyone. We have clear guidelines that all developers must follow in order to ensure the App Store is a safe place for all users and a fair opportunity for all developers. Translation: Steamlink will siphon off game purchases away from the iOS game ecosystem, and Apple ain't having anything to do with that shit. Next up, Amazon's Alexa apparently recorded a couple's conversation and then sent it to someone else on their contact list. Amazon, what did they say? Amazon confirmed that this was the voice-activated digital assistant that had recorded and sent the file to a virtual stranger and apologized profusely, but gave no explanation for how it might happen or how they might prevent it from happening again. So what happens if Alexa accidentally, distributes the audio of a couple's, steamy lovemaking? I want to know if that's going to be included in Amazon Prime, or I'm going to have to pay extra for that. That's really what I'd like to know. Next interesting piece of news is hackers target home routers and other devices. A recent advisory from US CERT warns that hackers have compromised as many as 500,000 home routers worldwide. Now, most of them were in the Ukraine. So the Ukrainians are devastated that they can't search for the latest Pisanki egg designs. And finally, the US Army Surgeon General has said that they're going to embed chips into all US soldiers. So they're all going to be microchipped like my dog is microchipped. So I wonder if soldiers will also be notified when they have to get their flea dip and their rabies shots. Well, thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. This has been another edition of RBF. Till next time.